Hello, my name is Ron Epps. I grew up in Rockford, Illinois. I work for the Alzheimer's Association New Mexico chapter as the program director for the New Mexico state, and I am based in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So, as program director for the Alzheimer's Association, what we do is we provide education and support groups and a few other things to really help families that are dealing with Alzheimer's and dementia. We really focus on those family caregivers. So the kids of the person dealing with the disease or the spouse of the person dealing with the disease. And what we try to do is just support them as they go through this challenge. And so, as we look at materials and how we present information, we have to do it actually in a lot of different ways. Because we have really poor areas in the state that just don't have broadband access, we can't do everything through Zoom or online. So, we have to do a lot of print material for those areas. And we do things and send them out via snail mail. We send them. We partner with senior centers. We partner with doctors' offices to help pass that information out. So we really have to have good relationships with those organizations. We do, however, also do the Zoom stuff because we have that population as well. So we provide Zoom classes. We do a lot of Facebook posts, Instagram, YouTube, those kind of things. We really look to connect in any way we can. I and most of my team, we really try to say yes. When someone asks, "Hey, can you come out and talk to us about this?" The answer is yes. "Hey, can you do this?" The answer is yes. And so we've really had some success. One of our successes actually is with Navajo Nation. A lot of organizations really struggle to get into some of the American Indian populations. And really, we were able to get in because we said yes a lot. And we just kept saying, how can we help? How can we help? And when they would ask us something, we'd find a way to say yes. And they say, "Hey, can you come out and be in Church Rock, in 2 weeks?" Yes. And I'll figure out how to get to Church Rock later. But I'll say yes right now. And we did. And so we've been able to go out and we continue to have conversations with them. And for an example of that actually is Navajo Nation is huge. It's a very large place. It's Navajo Nation is about the size of South Carolina, I think. So it's a very large reservation, and it covers over 3 states. So part of it is in New Mexico, part of it's in Arizona, part of it's in Utah, and actually there's a little bit in Colorado, although there's no senior centers in Colorado. But they wanted just one person to kind of be their contact. And so I said, yeah, I will travel to Arizona. I will travel to Utah, even though those aren't actually part of my responsibilities in my role. But in order to make a good relationship with them, I said yes. So I have a really weird background. Let's just put it that way. I have a very distinct background. I actually have a bachelor's degree in mathematics and a master's degree in information systems. I used to be an engineer at Intel Corporation. And in my work at Intel Corporation, I really got involved in community engagement. I became very involved in the community and joined several boards and decided that kind of, if you will, as a second career, that after I thought I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish at Intel, I would go into the nonprofit world and preferably into some sort of management position because that's kind of what appealed to me was being able to help these organizations make better decisions and become a little more efficient. When I saw there was a position with the Alzheimer's Association here in New Mexico, it really appealed to me because my mom died of dementia. And so this is a personal connection. My mom was diagnosed somewhere in the 2006 timeframe, but she had already had it for several years. But so when I saw this opportunity for the Alzheimer's Association, I jumped at it. Was fortunate to become part of this organization. So thinking back in high school, I went to Harlem High School, actually in Rockford, Illinois. And when I think back there, one thing to know about me is I was really good at math from the get-go. So I was always a math kid. And one of the things I really appreciate about mathematics is it teaches you how to solve problems. We don't always think of it that way, except even though we know it. And no matter kind of what job you get, one of the things your boss is going to ask you to do is solve problems for me. And so I am a really good problem solver. And so in general, I've been a pretty good employee. And so that's one thing from high school that I think I really carried forward into my career. The other thing for me is, growing up in high school, you do see all the cliques, if you will, of different high schools, and you see different people. But you also see, there's this group. I don't even know if you'd call them a clique, but they're kind of the people that are ignored or are just off to the wayside. And sometimes I would look at those people and recognize, they are at significant disadvantage than I was. I grew up in a strong family. I grew up with brothers. I grew up with parents that I knew that loved me and made sure I was supported. And those kids, a lot of them didn't have that, and so they were kind of outcast in the school. And so my heart goes out a little bit to those kids. And so when I talk about who am I trying to help, I help everyone. But one of the things I try to make sure that we do is that we are aware of those people that are kind of still on the outcast side of society. Just because you choose one thing when you come out of high school and you decide to do it, that doesn't mean you have to do that the rest of your life. You always have the ability to continue to grow. It's one of the things that's really pushed me is I'm always looking for, hey, what are other things I can learn? What are other places that I can do? And so it's led to me to do a lot of different things in my career. And I've had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun going and doing things. And if I see something that interests me in some way, I find a way to go start doing that as well. So just because you train to be a neurosurgeon doesn't mean you have to be a neurosurgeon the rest of your life. You can go ahead and become a car mechanic if you want. It's perfectly okay.